Now we are going to discuss the hazards and risks. A really important part of chemistry is carrying out experimental practices, and carrying out experiments can be really useful to help you get a better idea of the chemistry. However, if you are not careful, these experiments can be dangerous, and it is important that you know how to keep yourself and others safe when you are working in the lab. In this diagram, you can see an example of an experiment that hasn't been carried out safely. Our flask is emitting a cloud of smoke, which could be harmful to breathe in, and it looks like whatever is in the flask has caused a burn. We are thinking about how I can make a chemical reaction safe. We have to think about the hazards that are involved with this reaction. And hazards are the things that has the potential to cause harm, where harm could be a headache or dizziness or a cut or something worse. Along with identifying hazards, we can think about the associated risk. The risk associated with the hazard is the likelihood of harm. Whenever we expose ourselves to an unexpected step, this might cause an unexpected damage and hurt for the person who is most of the time unexperienced while carrying an experiment. Whenever you are not familiar with a certain step, always ask for an experienced help. The chemicals that we use in the lab have symbols on the bottles, which tell you about the hazards that they pose. We can now look at 6 symbols that is important to recognize, and you will see them on bottles that you use in the lab. The first of these is the symbol that tells you that a chemical is flammable, where it catches fire easily. And in order to be safe while carrying such substances, make sure to be wearing your lab coat, protecting your eyes using the goggles, and protecting your hands using the gloves. Examples of flammable substances or chemicals that we use in the lab are acetone and ethyl alcohol. Now, the following symbol that is shown here tells you that the chemical is oxidizing. If a chemical is oxidizing, it provides oxygen and allowing other materials to catch fire more easily, and when they do so, to burn more fiercely. A good example of an oxidizing substance is liquid oxygen itself. Liquid oxygen, it should be always kept away from open flames and should also be kept away from flammable materials. The third symbol that we have here, or that you might see on the bottles of chemicals in the lab, is the symbol that tells you that something is an environmental hazard, where it is harmful to the environment. So some chemicals, they shouldn't be disposed inside the sink of the lab. They should be disposed properly in certain bottles and thrown somewhere special for such hazards. For example, the mercury, when the mercury thermometer is broken down, we have to dispose the mercury that is on the ground in a certain way. And the last symbol that we can see here is the toxic symbol. It shows you that this chemical that you're using is toxic, so it can cause death if swallowed or breathed in or absorbed through the skin. You have to be careful while using such chemicals.